What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for December 16th, 2022. All right, so last night the Flyers did beat the Devils 2-1. Not good for our lottery pick standings, but hopefully the young guys were able to take something away from that. Um, Again, we're trying to get that top three pick, so beating a team that actually is good, like a double-edged sword, especially if it's the Devils, who are one of our rivals. But 2-1 win for the Flyers yesterday. They take on the Rangers tomorrow at the FU Center. And speaking of the FU Center, the Sixers play the Warriors tonight. Some of the luster is off of that game. Steph Curry is out. We had talked previously about tanking and whether or not it's fair to fans. And this is kind of one of those things. It's the luck of the draw because the Warriors only come to Philly one time, and most people want to see Steph Curry. He's not playing. They're not a very good team without Steph Curry this year. So Sixers should be able to dominate. So if you want to see the Sixers win, it's a good game to go to. But as far as seeing Steph Curry, not going to happen. But I'm anxious. I'll still be tuning into the game, and we'll go from there. One thing I wanted to bring up because I recorded a new Back to the Future last night, and what, y'all thought you weren't going to see me? Like, I don't take days off here. Even if I record the night before holidays, I'll be here on Christmas. Don't worry, we don't take days off for this day in Philly sports history because Philly sports history doesn't take days off. But Back to the Future, I wanted to include this on this week or today in this day in Philly sports history, but it didn't necessarily fit into one day, and it was all week this week. Back in 1984, the Eagles almost moved to Phoenix. I go into a lot of detail about the story because there's many layers and just so much intertwined. Would have made like a good drama movie, I guess, if a sports drama, because of everything and all the moving pieces. So be sure to check that out. It a little bit longer because of how in depth the the backstory was, but it was excuse me. It was definitely intense. It was emotional. I walked out. I finished recording, and my wig was fried like a bad perm. So make sure you check that out. But for this day in Philly sports history, today we're going to take it back to '79. And in 1979, on December 16th, it was the last game of the season for the Eagles. They went down to Houston to play the Oilers at the Astrodome. They won 26-20. Wilbert Montgomery had 11 carries for 60 yards. He had 5 catches for 51 yards. Now, that rushing total is important because he finished the season then with 1,512 yards, which at the time set the Eagles' single season record for rushing yards in a season. He ended his career with 6,538, which also was a team record until one Lesean McCoy would come along and break both records. Shady had 67.92 for his career and rushed for over 1,600 yards in 2003, which ironically was Chip Kelly's first year, who Chip Kelly traded LeSean McCoy. But back to 79. The Eagles finished 11-5. The week before, they had a chance to win the division, lost to the Cowboys. As funky as it was, the Eagles went into week 16 then. They couldn't win the division. That was basically, it was an NFC East division title game between Washington and Dallas. But with a win, they could clinch the wild card spot. And the loser of the Cowboys game was out of the playoffs. Very weird, but Eagles were in the playoffs. They played the Bears at the Vet that year. In the wild card, they won 27-17. But after having the thrill of victory, the next week it was the agony defeat. It was just decimation down in Tampa Bay as the Buccaneers beat the Eagles 24-17. It definitely was not as close as the score sounds, as the Eagles came back late. I believe that was the Buccaneers' first ever playoff win. But they would go on to meet a few more times in the playoffs, so the saga continues. But for the Eagles, it was that next gradual progression. So the following year, they were finally able to triumph over the Cowboys and make it to the Super Bowl, which we know ultimately they lost to the Raiders. So Big game down in South Philly tonight for the Sixers. They need to come out and just dominate that team. The way they've been playing, the fact that the Warriors are banged up, that's what I want to see. I want to see complete and total decimation of the Warriors. Big game coming up for the Eagles, which I keep going back and forth on this, but the way they reacted to the Michael Parsons thing has me believing and thinking that they kind of are locked in and kind of focused on the Bears, and they're not letting outside distractions. So maybe they actually are walking the walk or walking the talk that they've been saying, that they're just one game at a time and one just focus on the task at hand. We shall see, but I'll have more on them on Sunday on this day in Philly sports history. Again, be sure to check out Back to the Future, like and subscribe for both podcasts. Follow me on all the social media. Hope you had a little bit of fun today with this day in Philly. If you know, you know. Go have yourselves a Friday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you. Wu-Tang forever.